Hi.
Hi. How long have you been here?
Oh, not long.
Okay.
No,
Uh,
no worries. To find you. There you go. So I ended up with COVID.
oh
I
no, when
just
did you get that?
I got it last Saturday. I went to a museum and touching stuff and not being aware, and at least that's where I think I got it. It's the most highly likely place that I got it. But
Okay,
I reached the peak and now I'm on the downside of it.
okay. So how are you
So
feeling now?
Oh, I'm feeling fine, except my sinuses are all plugged and my nose is all sore. But the headache and chills and fever are gone, and I just can't smell, so it's hard to eat,
Yeah,
right? You
yeah,
know what it's supposed to taste like,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. And your
And
throat?
I
Your
did
throat?
have a sore throat because of the postnasal drip, right? Dripping
Yeah,
down, and yeah, yeah,
okay.
yeah. So.
Goodness. Are you up to talking now? Eh?
Yeah, everything is good. I mean,
Uh,
I do healing, I do energy work on myself, and it was hard as the energy healer, you're, everything is down vibrationally, right? So it's
right.
hard. So it was about Thursday when I finally could um, kick in and do some pendulum work on myself. But I did teach class on Tuesday, which I
Okay.
shouldn't have done,
Yeah, yeah.
you know. But it was already too late. I was deciding already too late. I didn't really test myself till Thursday.
Okay. Yeah,
Really did believe it was allergies because there was so much blooming going on
yeah, yeah.
that, but I kind of knew inside, but I was just like, well, but yeah.
Mm,
So I had the home test.
right, right.
There
Okay.
was no waiting 15 minutes. So it showed up positive just like that.
Right, right.
So I did all the
Goodness.
stuff that you're supposed to do, drink a lot of water, isolate kind of stuff. So I had lots of time to watch YouTube videos and find out more about iodine. So I got iodine tincture and started taking that. And
Yeah,
actually that's when I started to feel better. So I don't know if it was coincidental, as I'm going up that, or down the other side, right of the peak, that I'm taking the iodine and it's, kind of helping.
yeah, yeah. Iodine's important throughout life, not just for COVID. Okay. Yeah,
Right. And that's why I decided I'm going to take a little bit every day in that
yeah,
tincture.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I do crave, iodine, like I want fish, I want shrimp, right? When I'm low on my iodine, I can
Yeah,
really, and I've looked back over, the decades and I've seen
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you get iodized salt, sea salt. Okay. And you get it in seaweed as well, seaweed vegetables. Okay. Um, so yeah, um, generally one is not necessarily down in iodine if you have a diversity of diets, so it yeah, yeah. Anyway,
I'll just try it. And, I'll
yeah,
just experiment with it and see how I feel. And so I got some selenium because I had all this time, right?
yeah, 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 yeah.
But just
Yes,
upping
selenium
my
is important.
Yeah, and upping my, so I wanted some applesauce, but I didn't have any, so I made some. I had some apples, so I chopped them up and add cinnamon and cooked them like you were talking about in your paper.
Yeah, right. Good. Okay.
I really
Yes.
wanted to run in comfort food really bad.
Right. Right. Okay.
If I could eat, that was the other problem. Sometimes I couldn't eat.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
became difficult to eat.
Yeah. 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 I've heard that from number of my family members and friends have had COVID, and yeah, they've had difficulty in eating as well. Mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
But other than that, what was going on is that I'm friends with this Helen who I go to church with on Zoom. We're close. And actually, she's from Australia, and she's like 77,
Okay.
and her husband had passed last year in July. And anyway, her and I just started talking and became close, fast friends. And she gave me books to read and about near-death experiences. So this is our second talk on it at the church, right? But she had a heart attack on Friday, and she can't give the talk. She thought she could. She's like me, power through it, and even though she's in the hospital.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, I got my iPad, I could do it. I'm like, okay. But anyway, today she's like, finally, they're going to take me to the trauma center and decide whether we're going to do a stent or they're going to do an open heart. I think I'll just pass my notes on to you.
Goodness me. Yeah. Yeah.
She's like, can you do it? And I said, oh, yeah, give me something to do.
Yeah.
I was thinking about putting a whole PowerPoint together because that's how I am.
Yeah. Okay.
Take it up a notch or two. So I must be feeling better, because if I didn't, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I went out on a date on Saturday.
Oh, good.
Yeah. And in this kind of, age group, it's all about your disease, right? And he's like, well, I have a pacemaker and I have sciatica. And I'm like, yeah, you probably have this and that, and I told him, how I changed my inflammation with diet. He agreed, but he wasn't going to change. And I said, well, that's on you, man. If you want to walk around in pain, I'm totally happy for you. But I'm totally happy if you don't either. So it's all on you. Yeah. That's what, staying in neutral, right?
Yes. Perfect.
Yeah. And I said, and I was very honest. And I said, as you age, you tend to, identify yourself as your disease, and then you kind of hold yourself back because of your disease, kind of thing.
Yes.
I said again, but it's on you.
Absolutely, it is. Absolutely. Yes, you identify yourself with external circumstances.
Yeah, when I heard my niece, who's 16, say to me at a Zoom call, all my grandma and grandpa talk about are how things hurt, and I said, well, that's how we talk as we age, right? And I said to myself, I'm going to try to work on this with myself.
Right.
And see if I can't be more aware and conscious of it. Because I went there too. That's the first place I went to. When she asked, how are you? I was like, oh, well, now my knee. And then she said that, and it was like, wow, there's a punch in the face, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's really an interesting consciousness. Okay.
It is. And how are you, before I take up the whole conversation?
No. Yeah. I'm really well. Okay. And when we spoke last time, that the whole get set up was sort of in the balance and so on. And I was betwixt and between and confused and not understanding a lot of things. And but as I sit here today, I'm grateful to get set up. Okay. They've reduced my classes. I still don't know, and I don't think they know the actual number yet, but definitely do 2 classes a month. Okay. But they say possibly 4 classes a month. And they then had a meeting with the guides. I don't know. I'm not sure if the ambassadors were part of that meeting just recently. I think on Friday or something.
There was one on Thursday here, and I got about 45 minutes into it when I got a phone call from work.
Okay, we had ours Yeah, that was right. Yeah, it was. Yeah, because it was 2:30 a.m. My time. Okay, early hours of the morning, and
Yeah.
yes, yeah. But I got up for it because I really wanted to, and I'm pleased I did.
Yeah, they were very transparent. Did you feel that they were trying to be as transparent as they possibly could?
Absolutely, yes. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's the first time in 18 months that I've been associated have they been transparent. They've always been this ego external thing of, we've got this contracts and we're doing this and we're doing well and we're employing more people. And but on Friday, early morning for me, this was very transparent, and I felt now they're maturing. Okay, I felt now that they're maturing, and I am grateful to be part of this. So when they come out of it, okay, which might well be many years, okay, I'm still part of it, okay. And I can now go ahead and make my plans for the rest of my life. And
Yes.
I've just finished listening to an audiobook entitled, it was given to me by a learner, not given to me, the title was given to me by a learner who deals in this area of retirement for seniors. And the book is called Refire, Don't Retire. Okay.
Yeah, I like it.
Okay, don't spend the rest of your life. It's got like a subtitle. Okay, yeah. So it immediately resonated with me. She sent me an email, and I immediately ordered it as an audio because then I could get it the same day.
Yeah.
And so it's the first audio book I've ever bought. Okay, and I literally took 2 days and I'd finished it. Okay, and made notes, and it as the title had resonated with me, that the content also did. Okay, and really they just talk about 4 keys, and I really identified with those 4 keys. Okay, so that really has now refired me, like it was meant to do with the title. Okay, it really has. Okay, and and then another learner from Get Set Up recommended another book, and that I've ordered because I know I'm going to need a hard copy. It's about focusing forward with your business and how to unfold your business and so on. I can't quite recall the title of that one, but when it arrives, I'll share it with you. All right, and so I'm really keen to see how things unfold now. Okay, and one of the aspects of right at the beginning of that audiobook was be spontaneous. Okay, and so immediately, okay, I shared that with Sue, and now every day we have been spontaneous. Okay, we sort of finish on the computer, or we get up to stretch and let's go and have a cup of coffee out down the road. Okay, which we haven't done for 3 years. Okay, but now now we're spontaneous. And then yesterday we heard that there were kangaroos in a forest at a certain time of the day that you could go and see. Let's go and see these kangaroos. Okay, so off we went yesterday, and we bought ourselves a cup of coffee and a donut, and we went down to see and we saw the kangaroos.
Oh, cool! Even
they
better.
were there, and so we had our cup of coffee and donut, and so already doing an aspect of the book is to be spontaneous, okay, and that is beautiful. Another one was, key one is about the emotions and love and so forth, but it's not sort of perhaps like you and I would talk to friends about love. It's about finding people to care for, okay, to interact with, to build relationships with, and
Right.
that's like happened spontaneously. I've had such grand support from the learners of Get Set Up, the people who come to my classes, and Sue has too. Okay, they were absolutely horrified that we might not be part of Get Set Up anymore. Okay, and they wrote letters to Neil and to Deval and saying, they absolutely insist that Sue and I are kept on. Okay, because we weren't given any lessons initially. Okay, and then I think they responded. They heard. I don't know, but now those learners are emailing me directly. Okay, and I've got about 20 of them that have emailed me and told me all sorts of different things. And that's part of key one in this audio book, is build new relationships, consciously build new relationships, not as in, partner relationships, but just people,
Right.
just
Yeah.
people. Okay.
Yeah.
And just share anything that, every party has to share. And so I immediately started that. And it's like a private email, as opposed to, are you on my database where you get a weekly email from me? You do?
Yeah.
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 Okay, I'm not talking about that. Okay. I'm talking about where perhaps some people got that and then they replied and they're talking to me personally. Okay. And as much as I like to do the same with you. I mean, we are on email, but we don't tend to talk on email but we have something special, which is this every 2 weeks. Okay. And so this is like also part of that. Okay. It's lovely. And I look forward to having our conversation, you and me. And so, yeah, that's another whole sort of reaching out on this key one, being spontaneous, sharing things with new people, finding new people, consciously finding new people, really thinking, who lives next door in actual fact, okay? And you see him actually stop and go and talk to that person when you see him in the street. So this is all in the last, literally, few days. Okay.
Oh, interesting, because there was a 8-alarm fire, 2 buildings, like 8 engines, fire engines came, ladders, how they have the different size trucks. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No.
But I finally met the neighbors because of this, because they were told to evacuate.
Yeah, yeah.
So they came in front of my apartment building.
Right.
I was like, well, I got to stay away from you, but, I didn't tell them. I just had my mask on.
Yeah, yeah. But
But
now
that's interesting.
it is. Now, don't lose contact, okay? You're given an opportunity. There they are. You've said hello to them, okay? And you've got something in common, the fire, okay?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so
Interesting.
yes, it's absolutely marvelous, okay? Yeah, and then that's the first key. That sort of like summarizes the first key, and really, and there are only 4 keys, as I said. I'm really pleased. So you asked the question, how am I? Okay, I think I've answered that question.
Yeah, I know, right? We just can't say good.
No, I mean that's absolutely.
I know. That's
Yeah.
funny. Yeah, my nose is sore. But yeah,
shame. Yeah, yeah,
it's okay. It's okay.
yeah,
It's good to go through this experience with the COVID. I think that, I have a better concept of how it is that I do feel how I feel when I do feel well, right? Because I had gotten sick in a long, long time, right?
right,
I haven't had the flu in like 24 years.
right, right.
And I'm maybe a little cold or sinus headache here and there, but I've not been laid up
Okay, okay.
besides
Yeah.
surgery.
Don't forget that, the basic of all healing starts with vitamin C. Okay.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
please don't forget that. Okay.
I'll take another one.
Yeah, but just look at the bottle. Okay. Have a look. Have you got a bottle there?
I do.
Just have a look at, and let me see. All right, show it to me. Let me just see. Pure. Yeah, that's ascorbic acid. That's
Yeah.
not vitamin C.
Okay. But they were saying that there's really no true vitamin C out there, that it's ascorbic acid that I should be taking.
All the pharmaceuticals and all those things will take it. Ascorbic acid is part of vitamin C. And people out in the public, they talk about ascorbic acid as vitamin C, like you've just done. Okay. Okay. But vitamin C is a lot more than ascorbic acid. Okay. So you've either got to take it in through a water-soluble supplement where they've taken the whole plant vitamin C, okay, and put it into a water-soluble supplement, which will be a liquid probably, done perhaps with nanotechnology. But it's ascorbic acid is not enough on its own, okay? You need to be, if you're going to maybe, juice some green leaves or carrots or whatever, then you'll get the whole vitamin C that's in the plant.
Okay.
Okay. There are other chemicals that make up, that attach, that are part of the vitamin C, not just ascorbic acid. Is just one aspect. Okay.
Right.
Okay. So
yeah, I used to take the time release 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C.
But it could also be ascorbic acid, you see.
I know, that's the other thing too, yeah.
That's the thing, because we are conditioned. We have a belief system. Okay, I'm taking vitamin C, okay? But in large print on your bucket, it actually says ascorbic acid.
Right, and I knew that when I bought it.
Yeah, but you weren't aware that it's not the complete vitamin C that you need for the healing. Okay?
Right.
It has a benefit, but it's not the whole vitamin C, okay? Yeah, I urge you to.
I'll get better vitamin C, but I have a whole load of vitamins that I was taking, but and more.
Yeah.
And I had it more.
Yeah. I would urge you, while you are not 100% well, okay, is take that time, like you mentioned earlier, but take the time to actually understand, about vitamins, okay? Because we are so impregnated with conditional information, okay, that information becomes a belief. We just know, we know that, but it's because of false information, okay, or not holistic information. So nothing wrong. You've got to have vitamins, okay, but not necessarily certain vitamins that are manufactured in a certain way, okay, because then they just become, they go in and they go out. Your body does not absorb them, many of them, okay, because your body will only absorb something that is actually water soluble, okay. So you need to be looking at that aspect. And ultimately, in the long term, I'm not talking about a short-term healing, but in the long term, is to get all your vitamins from different categories of plants. Okay, that's it. Okay, I mean, you can carry on eating meat and fish and so on, if that's your choice. But have the diversity of plant, because you've got macronutrients and micronutrients. I think you might have attended one of my classes on that, and so everything is stored except vitamin C, okay, in your body, okay. And one of the things that seniors, yeah, I'm going off at a tangent again, all right, bear with me, okay. One of the biggest things that we are not conscious of as seniors, okay, regardless of what diet we get, we're low in B12, okay, generally. And Americans particularly, okay, I looked at a study about 2 days ago that the American population on average, okay, across the full millions of people in America are getting less than half of the B12 that they need to be getting, okay, from their diet, okay. And something, and B12, you know, is very, it's important for a lot of functions, but particularly the nerves, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and the nerves are the messengers and the carriers of the energies that you talk about, okay. So if your nervous system is not working at its optimal efficiency, which it doesn't when you tend to get older, because we just don't get enough B12, B6 too, but B12 is really what I'm talking about now. So, and it's not readily available, and interestingly enough, okay, one of the places that you will get it, because we mentioned this earlier with iodine, would be like in seaweed vegetables, okay. The seaweed vegetables just don't taste nice, okay. So we sort of buy them dried and rub them up and sprinkle them on our food, okay. Then you don't get the taste of them, okay. And you know, you put other things on for the taste. So, but also you can get B12 in fortified food, and that's all right too, like fortified breakfast cereals, okay. And I just read yesterday they're actually now putting B12 in toothpaste, okay. So I'm going to look that up today and see what I can find out about that. But certainly fortified, and often in spreads like Marmite or Bovril. I don't know if you get those sort of names in America, which is like in natural yeast you get B12. Okay, so if you got a spread in a yeast like we have a couple, then you've got it. It's got it in that as well. But otherwise, you just sprinkle natural yeast onto any food. Okay. And you get your B12. So it's something we need to be a little bit more conscious of. If you want to listen to a video, then go to Dr. Michael Greger. Okay, so just Google Michael Greger, Greger, Michael Greger B12. Okay, he's got about 4 or 5 short. All his videos are short. Okay, I really became more aware of it because he relates peripheral artery disease, which I have, okay, with B12 deficiency as well. Okay, so that's how by Googling peripheral artery disease and Greger, I discovered by mistake about the B12. Okay, and
I love mistakes sometimes.
I just love God. God, God leads you.
He does. He does. He leads me everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You just got to be aware that he's leading you and be grateful. Okay, and take some action.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Yeah. Oh, I love that song too. I love listening to people sing hallelujah. Oh, choirs particularly. But people singing hallelujah, it just resonates with me. Thank you.
I understand that. Yeah.
I do.
I was at a concert, right? A symphony, and it was around Christmas time, and they were doing that Hallelujah song.
Yes.
And it's just my heart. It's just the frequency. It was resonating, right? It was about. I mean, this is before I knew anything really about energy. And it was just like, oh my God, I can feel it in my heart. My heart is reacting to this frequency that the song or it was being played in.
Right. Yeah. I'm the same. sometimes, I listen quite a lot. Really do enjoy it. Is like America's Got Talent and Britain's Got Talent. Okay. And oh goodness me, I see a message has come up here. We've got a recording going out. All right, if we suddenly cut, we'll come back on again. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So it's about 5 minutes or so. Yeah. Otherwise, we need to just digressing now. Yeah. Actually, Skype's also got a limited time. I've discovered as well. So there actually isn't anyway. Be that as it may.
Right.
Yeah. What was I saying now?
Oh, about America's Got Talent, how
yeah, and often
on your songs.
Yeah, that often somebody comes there, usually a gospel singer or something, and they sing Hallelujah, okay, or they sing it as the second round, and they have a choir with them, and I just turn the volume up, and hope the neighbors enjoy it as well, Yeah. So yeah. Hallelujah.
I'm gonna have to ask the Reverend if to play Hallelujah tomorrow.
Yes.
At church.
Yeah. It's certainly, you feel it and I feel it. It's got a healing quality. It really does have. And I have listened to a couple of verses where people have tried to add their own take on it, and that hasn't resonated as well. Okay, it's interesting, but the good old traditional Hallelujah. Yeah,
there's just something about it. I love like you say, the gospel. Is there something about it? It goes down, right? It goes low, then it comes up, and
yeah, yeah. It's
very feeling.
A lot of feeling. Yes, it has. Yeah, and there are a few songs like that. I just can't recall another one right now, but when they play it, I get like goosebumps. Okay, and really, yeah, I think it's got also to do with the tone or the key that it is sung in. Okay.
It is, because every chakra has a certain note that it resonates
Of course, yes, I'd forgotten about that. Yeah.
So Hallelujah is written in that note for our heart chakra, because that's where I feel it the most.
Okay. Yeah.
In my heart.
Yeah. I haven't been conscious of where I'm feeling it, but usually my feeling is around the heart. But the goosebumps on my legs. Okay. Really. And then with or even with the other program that Sue and I enjoy is The Voice, American The Voice, and they've started one in Australia this year. They've just finished it, and it was absolutely beautiful. Okay, the judges were. We were skeptical because we'd always watched the American one and enjoyed it. And we liked the interaction between the judges and things like that. But oh my goodness, did these judges take it to a new level? Okay, absolutely beautiful. And the voices that came on, I mean, right from like 7-year-olds, gave me goosebumps. Okay, absolutely. Where does that voice come from at 7 years old? I mean, Sue's got a granddaughter that age, okay? And wow,
Well, what about the ballerina? It's like, where does that talent come from at such a young age? Somebody has to kind of massage it and feed it.
Yeah. And as you probably know, she's got a slightly older, a 12-year-old granddaughter who's a ballerina. Okay.
Yeah.
And
it's like 12. My gosh.
And she was the lead ballerina. We went to see her last week. Okay. And she just is beautiful. Absolutely. She's got the absolute ideal body for a ballerina. Okay. And she's like an angel, tiptoeing, and she can't wait when she comes around here. Grandpa, can I dance my latest dance for you? And so in the lounge, she just lives for it. And now this year, she's gone. Her full-time schooling is at a ballerina school. 12 years old, she's getting her schooling from. She got a what do you call it? Getting it paid for her. Okay.
Yeah.
And so she's
Scholarship.
Scholarship. That's right. At 12 years old, okay, into this ballerina school. So half the time, in fact, less than half the time, she does schoolwork, okay, and the rest of the time she does ballet, okay, and it's absolutely marvelous that she loves it. You know, she really enjoys it. Okay.
Like she was born to do it, right?
She was born to do it, and as you say, where does it come from? Okay, it has to be linked.
And to find it at such a young age,
Yeah.
right? Because we didn't know at our age that, you know, at 13 or 12, what we even wanted to do.
No,
you know?
I agree. You say that an old school friend of mine that I'm still in contact with says to me, do you know what you used to say in junior high school you were going to be? I said, no, I don't think I knew what I was going to be. You wanted to be a disc jockey. So I said, okay. Maybe I got to go back to looking at that. Yeah.
I wanted to be an interior designer. I knew, but I got squashed. But really, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
I moved on. I let go. I forgave. I mean, what they knew at that time versus what they know nowadays, it's totally different how they would teach.
Yeah.
You know?
My mother was convinced I was going to be a preacher.
What convinced her about that?
Eh? Say again?
Were you just why was she convinced about that? Because you would just talk a lot or knew a lot, or?
I was always, as a teenager, talking about spirituality, things, you know, and my mother and I, you know, she went through two different sort of phases in my adult life as far as spirituality was concerned, and she was most of my life a Christian Scientist, okay, and very interesting. Baker Eddy or something, Eddie Baker Eddy or something, is the founder of that movement in America. I think it's about 100 years ago, or 120 years ago. Okay, so my mother was into that. I had different questions that almost contradicted that. If you know, I remember even as a young adult, and she would never go out and try and defend. She would just talk about it in a certain way that sometimes it gelled with me, made sense. Perhaps makes more sense right now than it did then. And she died at 93, and so she lived a good age, and a lovely, lovely, lovely woman. I had a lovely relationship with her, and that continued right the way through to it. She came and lived with me later on in her life, and I cared for her when she was ill and dying as well, and so she was a Christian Scientist. And so to answer your question, you know, I think my mother, because of my questioning of it, she, even later in life, she said, Michael, you know, I still think you should be a preacher. Okay. So I said, Mom,
life ain't done.
Yeah, it's interesting, but I, you know, certainly never in a religion, because religions just don't appeal to me. Okay, they never have ever since a teenager. I went to Sunday school, and I went to church. Went to a church school, so we had to do a little bit of church every morning before school. All of us would be a preacher in an Orthodox church. I think Orthodox religion is a for me, okay, is a thing of the past. Okay, it really was needed, right back to when the Hindus came into, and there was, Krishna and Vishnu and those sort of godlike people and energies, and Buddha and Muhammad and Christ Jesus. They were all 2,000 years ago, and it was a need. There was a need, and because they were trying to teach humanity some sort of morals. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So it was absolutely necessary. When you think of Jesus coming in during the Roman era, they were quite a ruthless culture, and it is unfortunate that they actually put Jesus to death as well, which they thought they did. But yeah, I mean that wasn't planned. That wasn't God's plan in that sense. And then after that, the most horrific things continued with Christianity as such. But the Romans needed to get some culture, and of course they faded out because they became external. The wealth and the pleasures and being so powerful, they slowly dilapidated and dissolved and disappeared. Okay, as do all cultures.
I was just going to say, look at Atlantis. It went, way far beyond what it was supposed to do.
Yeah.
And they said, we got to get rid of you. I don't know who they are, the gods, right?
Well, it's just the law of the energies that we are in. The pendulum swings. Okay. So when the pendulum reaches its pinnacle of the swing, it goes the opposite direction. Okay. And that's the way that this duality, three-dimension universe that we live in it has the positive and the negative. Okay, and as we spoke before, they need to be balanced. Okay, but what happens is that as part of the learning process, part of being in the school, is that the pendulum just continues swinging. And at the moment now, it's a very satanic direction that it's swinging in. Okay, very uneasy society that we live in. There's always wars, and if there aren't any wars, somebody starts a war. Okay, and there's food shortage, there's pain. Half the world doesn't eat. There's starvation. Okay, so the pendulum, and it's getting worse and worse. Okay, and it finally will get to the worst where we all suffer immensely, probably. Okay, and hopefully we can fall back on those moral teachings and learn to help one another. Okay, and not be judged by the color of our skin, or what we eat, or how much money we got in the bank, or or how much property we own, or what's motor car we drive. Hopefully we become more inward focused, soul focused. Okay, that is sustainable, and that will then get the pendulum to start swinging in the opposite direction. Yeah,
correct. Yes, or it just reaches its end and has to come back, right?
Yeah, it absolutely. It's done it before. Okay, we just haven't been around, and the history hasn't recorded it necessarily. Okay, but it certainly alluded to it in some of the writings, like the great floods and things like that, and the climate change, and so and mankind sort of just had to start wandering the earth again and eating off the land, and fighting with people on the next door mountains. I don't know, joining together with them. And so it's happened before, and it's just part of the cycle of the lowest of the low energy levels, which is planet Earth. Okay. And now all we can do something as individuals, okay? And we have to do something as individuals. Okay? So by keeping that balance and then getting that neuter path, because that neuter path is the Spirit of God. Okay, and that Spirit of God goes all the way through all the heavens, up to the heart of God, let's say. Okay, so if we can stay on that neuter path, we can be, and that's mustn't be our motive. Okay, it mustn't be our motive. We can be spared that that trauma that the rest of the world is going to go through. Okay, because we'll be able to, bring it in. We'll be there. Okay, but it will be not protected, because that's also the wrong word. But if we are focusing on our spirituality, if we are focusing on our soul qualities, okay, I call them, the 5 angels, okay, those are really like being aware of spirit, being aware of God is like one of those avenues, that and the others, like patience with people. Okay, that's an angel that is there, that brings you onto that path. Is patience. So and there are others too. That sort of that piety, that reverence for life. Okay. That you understand that this is all divinity all around you. Okay, so that lion that's about to eat you is part of divinity. Okay,
Exactly.
and that lion could be a human. If you know what I mean. It's all the plants. They're all part of this divinity. So you look at everything and everybody with reverence. Okay, it's absolutely. Anyway,
well, an experience I had, like I said, I can't, I don't put my garbage in our dumpster. So I go to my, down the road, down the alley, and I use their dumpster. Well, one morning I'm there at 4:30 in the morning, and there was a homeless guy sleeping next to the dumpster, right? He scared me. I'm like, what the heck? And he's like, I'll get up and put my shoes on and leave. I'm like, no, just, I'm not supposed to be here either. I thought to myself. So you know what? I said, don't bother. I'm leaving. I'm not going to tell anybody. I'm going to go back home.
Right. Okay. Wasn't he allowed to be there by law or what?
Well, it's private property. And
oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, I don't, they got to sleep somewhere,
Yeah.
That's all I know. And so what happened is I went out to my car this morning because I wanted to get to the, the salt water, go to the beach, right? I wanted to surround myself with that and get some more healing going on. So the owner added a ring light and 2 spotlights.
Wow. Okay.
In where we put our garbage, our dumpster area, because I think people are putting garbage in there illegally.
Okay.
Especially, recycle our cardboard. It's like it gets empty 2 weeks, but I'm like, why is it so full? There's only 6 of us who live here. It's a dumpster-sized thing. And I think he's curious too as to who's putting in their cardboard, because it's so much so that we can't close our lid, right?
All right, I understand.
I'm like, where am I going to put should I go to the neighbors?
Yeah, like that. Yeah. We have a similar problem. But each one of us have our own individual household bin for recyclables.
Well, it's just interesting with this garbage thing. I just see this as an issue. It's just issue. It's just what I see is that anybody who moves in the neighborhood by us, he tells them to use our our cardboard recycle? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. You know, go ahead and use it. Well, people obviously are.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? So I don't get why you're mad that people are using it after you told them they could use it.
right, right.
You
They're
know?
abusing it probably. They're not using it,
Well,
they're
yeah, of
abusing.
course. Of
Yeah,
course. Yeah. So now
yeah,
he's gonna find out who it is, you know, because he's got a camera now. I'm like, it
yeah,
ain't me.
yeah.
So now he'll know I never put garbage in the garbage.
Right, right, yeah. But those the street people are so, it's so interesting. It's interesting that you bring it up because, you know, we have a beggar outside one of the tiny little shopping centers. You know, it has a pharmacy and a grocer and a coffee shop, and this person stands there. And it was last week, I think, after I read this book, or I listened to the book I told you about. Okay, I sort of, you know, historically, I sort of either parked where I don't have to pass him, okay, or I pretend to look the other way because of some distraction, okay, and I was ashamed of myself when I thought that thought, okay, because I've been doing it, I don't know how long it's been there, for some time, and so that day, being spontaneous, I said to Sue, I want to go to the shop to go and buy some whole grain sourdough bread. And I said to her, I also want to talk to that homeless man. And so I parked and I walked up to him and I had a conversation with him. Okay.
Wow.
And it was an interesting conversation. Okay. He told me about his background, his history, and where he was, how he's here, and where he sleeps, actually, I couldn't get away from him.
Somebody who cares.
He just, and so I had the time, so I was patient. Sue eventually went inside and started to do some shopping, but I stayed out there and chatted to him. And I said to him, you know, can I buy you a loaf of bread or something? Okay, what would you like? He says, no, I'm fine, thanks. I've eaten today. Okay, he had a little hat there where you put money in and so on, but I don't carry cash on me at all. Okay, I only use a card. Okay, and so, you know, I explained that to him, you know, I don't have any cash. And they said, no, that's fine. He said, that's fine. I said, how do you get to because where he sleeps is about 20 kilometers away. Okay. So I said, how do you get? He says, by train. Okay. And I thought, okay, I'm not going to take this conversation any further. Okay. Because I'm not sure, you know, does he get the money to pay for his ticket, or, you know, does he have a link with maybe the conductor or something? I don't know.
Right.
I have no idea, but he says he travels on the train and he goes to, it's actually the center of Perth that he sleeps in, because there's a place where people are, in the winter, it's sort of like, I've never been there. I'm just aware that there's something that it's, I don't know, it's like an area that they all gather to go and sleep there. Okay, it's not indoors or anything like that, but there is some, I don't know, some sheds or something, and so on. And summer, definitely they sleep on the street, and they're not allowed to. Okay, so they do get told to move on, and because the police know that there are these areas that are allocated to people like that. Okay. And it was an interesting experience. I woke up to something after listening to that audio book that related to somebody on the street, like you, just only because of what you said now with the dump. Okay, and so wherever you can, this audio book says, try and build a relationship by interacting with people. Yeah.
Wow. So I've been following it anyway. It's like you were sending, energy to me,
Probably.
kind of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll probably at some stage in the future put an email out or write an article or something about the book and yeah, keep it short and simple. So those who resonate can then go and get the book if that's what they want. Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, it's been an interesting, time here. Just, like it was time for me to get sick, right? You could feel it. It was like, the universe is like, let's test this out,
Yeah.
even though I had vaccinations and the booster and everything, you know.
Yeah.
It was like my time, my number was up, so to speak. I really felt that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
My
I
friend
was
in Australia as well. He had the vaccination. He had to have the vaccinations because his mother was in a home and he wasn't allowed to visit her unless he had been vaccinated. And so he had vaccinated. And then, a month later he got COVID. And it had been a tough time, particularly with his throat. So yeah, and as I say, all my kids that got COVID had the vaccination, whether it was in England or Netherlands or wherever it was. Okay, and those, like my oldest daughter, didn't get vaxxed, and she hasn't got the COVID. So I'm not sure if there's a link, perhaps, to having the vax and getting COVID.
Well, Helen, who, is on top of stuff, says that people who have been vaccinated and boosted are now getting it.
Yeah.
Like, she's like, maybe it's mutated. And I was like, that's a quick time for it to mutate. I personally, I think maybe they're sending it out, somehow, right? We got this many people on that. Now we got, get these people, that's the conspiracy theory inside of me.
Yeah.
But I also know that it can be done,
Yeah. We were, Sue and I haven't, well, Sue's now, if she wants to teach after get set up, teach in a school, she has to be vaccinated. Okay. So she's had her first vaccination in order to get a letter from the school in order to take to the department for a visa to teach. So yeah, interesting, because there was a time during the whole period that we couldn't even buy anything from a shop unless we were vaccinated. Some shopping centers you couldn't go in. So we just bought everything online and had it delivered. Okay. And,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So, yeah. It's been an interesting time. Very interesting. As an observer, particularly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's by going home, right? Because I'm going home in August.
Okay.
To Wisconsin. Like our family, our like aunts and uncles are really, fractured, right? Nobody wants to meet with anybody, right? If you haven't maintained a relationship, it's already fractured, Like I'm trying to meet up with folks, with my aunts and stuff, and they're just not returning my things, and my niece. I'm like, wow, okay. But my oldest niece, she's kind of like me, right? She gets really stubborn and she just,
You've mentioned her before, yeah.
Yeah. But I'm like, well, time will, heal that, because she has a young daughter. So karma, that's what kids are, right? They're your karma.
Can be,
So
yeah.
don't worry, that karma's coming, sweetheart. It's just a matter of time before you realize. Yeah. So I'll try again. I'll reach out to her again. But, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Develop new relationships, okay?
Right.
That can become family. Even better than family. Okay.
Right, like this Helen, yeah, I met her through the
Yeah.
church, and actually, she was talking to the reverend, and she's like, I need someone to talk to. Helen's like that, right?
Yeah.
She's a number 7. So she seeks what she wants.
Right.
She's a
Right.
seeker.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and Helen, the reverend called me and said, would you, talk to Helen? And pretty soon me and Helen talk every night, stuff
Right.
like this.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Sue right now is talking to somebody in that gets it. You're aware of the name. It's Marge. Okay. On Get Set Up, you get emails from Marge when you book something, and
Oh,
okay. You did historically. You probably didn't notice it when you booked a class.
I did.
In the middle of the invitation or confirmation, was the name Marge at Get Set Up, and so people like that. I formed a relationship with Marge via email, and it's a lot of the new relationships are all in America. Okay, because of Get Set Up. Okay. Only because of Get Set Up, okay, and they've all joined my weekly emails, and they write, and they give me advice, like the book, fantastic, and others have written and said, I miss your microgreen class, I want to show you my mic. I said, well, send me a picture. Okay, I'd love it. Okay, or if you prefer to do it on some sort of social media, that's fine too. So it's a new world that's opening up thanks to Get Set Up. Okay.
Absolutely. Yes. I mean, it's yeah, I cannot praise it enough. Yeah, you prompting me, and even me coming to Get Set Up was through Chris, right? Here in West Seattle, when I went to a local thing here on spirituality and arts. And that's how I met her. That's how I got in. So it was like this domino effect, right?
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
It's just so interesting. I've also developed a couple of friendships in India. Okay, and Jana came to one of my classes, and again, I encouraged her. She wanted to start a business or thinking about it and so on. Anyway, the long and short of it, she joined the Get Set Up entrepreneur group after my class. And then they gave their final presentations last week, I think it was, and she was a runner-up, okay, in that competition. So, and she so kindly acknowledged me, even in her presentation, she acknowledged me, and I thought, it's great, Then there's our Dr. Sanjit in India that we really get on well. We connect on Facebook, okay, and so. Yeah, these friendships, now they need to be nourished, okay? And we got to be careful. I've got to be careful that, I don't get too egotistical about them, that I turn out with, you start, I can share it with you, I think, with confidence that I'm not boasting, because we are on the same wavelength. But so building these relationships is fantastic. I mean, I went through many years of just one or two friends that I'd go and have a cup of coffee with in South Africa, And since I've been in Australia, we haven't made a single friend physically nearby, not one. Okay, and I thought, no, that's going to change. It has to change. Okay. Yeah.
See. Yeah, you set something in motion, right? It just keeps going because it has momentum on it.
Yeah.
At a certain point.
Absolutely. Yeah. So
exactly. Yeah.
Anyway, maybe that's a good place to stop. What do you think?
Yeah. Because I'm kind of concerned about getting my stuff ready for tomorrow. With the notes that Helen had sent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I put the pressure on me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And are you then doing it to everybody else in church via Zoom?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And they're not, looking at me to, as some prophet, right? They just, it's like they don't have to do it.
Yeah.
It's not them doing it. But
Yeah.
I like to look halfway. My nose is just so sore. Halfway prepared, right?
Yeah.
It's all about my reputation, right? I don't want to
Yeah. Yeah.
be a schlump,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know. That's kind of. And I was thinking about putting a PowerPoint together because people like to look at stuff, right? I don't want to be them, look like when I do my classes, they all, we're on that big screen, right? They're all looking at me.
Yeah. The visual
I
is
noticed.
great. Have the slides is a good idea. Okay. And you can do the slides with you in front of them. Do you know how to do that? Otherwise, that I won't. Let me not teach you now because it's too close to tomorrow. But yeah, you can. You then, as if you were on a stage and you were referring to the slide behind you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah. So
I might look into that and just, put it in Google and see if I can't, do
no,
that because that would be really cool.
Well, it is very easy. All right. If you want me to tell you, I'll tell you. Okay.
Okay, go ahead and tell me. I can do it.
Or I can. Maybe I'll show you. Maybe that'll be easier.
Okay.
Except you've got to have some slides to show you with. But anyway, let's just share my screen. Not quite sure. I want to show you on Zoom. I don't want to. Well, maybe do it with me. I can't. I don't think I'll. I can. Just thinking how. Let me just think. I've got it. Maybe I can do it differently. No, I can't think of a quick way now without thinking about it. But anyway, go to your Zoom. Go to the share button.
Okay.
Click on share. Yeah.
Okay, the host disabled participant screen sharing.
Oh, okay. Let me change that. That comes, where does that come now? That's it's under more probably, or under breakout rooms, closed captions, whiteboards. Now those are reactions, support. One of these things somewhere must be here. Hang on, you just have a look. Breakout rooms, no, we don't want breakout rooms. Forwarding to closed captions. That's weird. There should be something that says more, but
right, and I see it on here, and all my more says is pin or rename on my side.
Yeah, but I don't see more on mine. Okay, let me just change my view for a minute just to see if that's going to make any difference. Yeah, chat participants, maybe under security. Let me see. Enable waiting. Share screen. I know that I don't want to share screen. Or maybe if I click share screen, it might give you the option. Now I think I've got to share screen, enable, unmute, start videos, whiteboards. No. That's strange. I've never not. It's always usually on the right hand side a more, and there isn't a more here. There you are. You're screening now. Is that you or me?
That's me.
Okay. Oh, good. So you've been given permission. Okay. So all right. Let me just you go to no. Just close your PowerPoint or minimize your PowerPoint. In fact, I tell you what, just stop sharing for a minute because I want to just talk you through it. Okay, now I won't be able to see it, but go to the share button, click share, and then stop there.
Okay.
Is it up?
Just bring up the
white screen. Yeah. Now on the top of the screen, in the middle, there's like 3 buttons. There's an advanced. You see advanced at the top of the screen?
Yeah, and I pressed on it.
You press that, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if you look down below, you'll see something that says PowerPoint. No, a big in the middle somewhere.
It says portion of screen.
No, not portion of screen. You're looking for something
Oh,
that's,
PowerPoint as virtual background.
that's it. Click that.
Okay,
Quickly, we're running out of time again. Okay.
okay.
But that's what you do. And then you select your PowerPoint. Okay. You click on that PowerPoint, you select your PowerPoint. Okay, do that one you've just seen now.
Oh, there I am.
There we are. Okay, well done. Okay, so now you
Oh my gosh.
now you
that's
can use your
funny.
finger, use your hand to refer to things on the screen. Just point backwards, you see, and you say over there, yeah, except the other way. Remember, it's
Yeah,
back to front.
yeah.
Remember, it's back to front. Okay, and you got to do it up, sort of above shoulder level.
Okay, okay. Hold on, I got to work on that, but that's cool. Oh,
Yeah.
there's my hand. There's my hand.
Yeah. You just got to practice with it. But you're in front, so it makes a big difference. And
Oh my, it
Yeah.
does. That'll help
Yeah.
because when I do the PowerPoint, because Oh
Yeah.
wow, thank you. That is so cool. It really is. I love learning new stuff.